Hello friends, SentinalhMC here, and welcome back to Revolution 3. So we're still working on the house. This is going to be the last bit of the house that I want to get built before we start we convert this into a survival series from what it currently is, kind of a build series. And we start the Let's Play proper. I meant to do this over the week, off camera mostly, but I haven't been feeling well since getting back from my my trip with my brother to camp over the last weekend. So I hope you don't mind that we actually have this live here, but I think it's going to be cool. I've got a very interesting plan for this area, and I know what I'm going to put here, and I think it's going to look pretty awesome. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is dig our way through here. So I want the immersive engineering area to be large enough, but also be very expandable. And the way that I've designed it in my head, it will be easy to expand it and make it larger later. I'm going to place down lanterns as we go so that we can see and make sure that our video settings is on. Oh, it's on moody. Well, bright will definitely help. I always mean to have it on bright for the videos, but I guess I forget. Now the floor in here is actually white stained clay by mostly by default. Maybe I'll leave it like that instead of making it spruce wood planks. Maybe I'll make it something more conducive to sort of industry. Have to think about how to think about that. So it's going to be this whole side of the house. Oh, that didn't work out too well. I felt like that made the most sense. Wow. There is quite something going on over here. With these stupid creepers blowing everything up. Everything's become very weird. There's like a big hole underneath this floor. Anyway, so my plan, of course, is that we have it as wide as this whole side of the house. I knew we were gonna break out, but we'll of course fix this as we go. Okay. No, leave that alone. So there we go, and now we need to go the other way. So it's going to be a very large space, but if you look at the front here, you can see that this is not all that large right in here. It doesn't really go forward very much, which it's not really going to be large enough. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring this forward, and this side of the house is going to be pretty much entirely on the outside of the mesa. So we're going to bring out the glass probably to right about here. Surprised it actually stayed there. As opposed to right here. So that makes everything larger. There's a creeper in my house now. Hopefully they don't, blow stuff up. I'll just sort of kill him in sand. So let's get going. Let's just keep digging, and I'll explain as we go. So my design for this really came from... Oh, there's already a hole there. Think of like... You know the high-rise buildings have a lot of glass, and there are a lot of high-end mansions, and holy cow! Look at all this. These caves and stuff around here. It's pretty crazy. So the idea for this really is being a large open room, because we have a very large central room here, but we're going to have smaller rooms off all of these sides. Like, we're not going to have one long room on any of these other sides. All going to be small rooms, little hallways branching into other small rooms, so we can compartmentalize everything, have a room for everything, have bedrooms, and we'll put some decorative bathrooms in if I get around to it. No, stupid. But on this side of the house, this is industry, and I wanted it to be very prominent. So we're going to have a lot of glass on the face. A lot of glass. glass all the way up. I hope this gives you an idea of what we're doing. With sort of the black pillars that we've got going on. So there it is. It is quite a large area, but of course we've barely scratched the surface. We haven't dug up at all yet. But I want to stop the mobs from coming in. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually build this thing, this front wall here. And in fact, I'm probably going to move this back a bit. The glass will probably be about this level right here. And the reason for that is that I still want to use as much as we can the base of this as the base. Now, if you remember, if we go around this side, the exterior part of the house is built out of quarried stone, really because it offers a distinction between the I may change it, but I kind of like the quarried stone for the outside. It's different than the white stained clay. It definitely makes it look like it's not just built out of the same material. Of course, the inside we have gone ahead and oh man, I thought I had it in here. So what we want is the quarried stone, and then basically we're just going to fill up to this level, building it out. Okay, so we're going to have this large square built out bit on this side of the roundish mesa, which I think is also going to give us a nice sort of contrast. Now remember, whenever you're doing this sort of thing, always make sure that the blocks are the block that you're using all the way down. So make sure that you replace those, and always do that, because otherwise it won't look as good. Now we're going to go ahead and actually, I think we want to build this one further out, because we're going to put the inner walls here, and I still want them to be the white stained clay. So we're going to make this, we're going to move this one more block. So that we can have an inner wall. So this part of the wall won't have any windows on it, but we're going to have plenty of windows, trust me on that. And, historically, this is kind of like a factory we're building here, and historically they had a lot of windows. I'm going to bury that later. Okay, so we're up to that level. We need to also go up to that level over here. And, of course, this wall as well is going to be an interior wall. So this needs to come over to there. We'll just replace that as well. And then go down, replace that. Leaving as many blocks alone as possible. Of course, we have to build in here. Build it up like that. But it's not going to be built up like that. I just want to get it up to this level for now. We're going to replace that stuff with the quarried stone as well. Now, what we need to do is go to the top, the height. This is not going to be just this high. It's going to be this high, all the way up, which will offer us quite a lot of headroom and a lot of space for upgrades. So we do have to dig it to the height of this, and that means we're going to have another sand apocalypse. As the sand pours in. Unavoidable. But if we just keep digging, yeah, you see, it's all sand up here, so it's a bit of trouble. Really, what I have to do is get the height right. And of course, we're going to have to replace all of this sand once we get the actual ceiling on this thing. so that there aren't massive gaps. Come on, sand. I know that even without Enviromine, the sand would do this, but it's still just so annoying. The sand. It's just very annoying. Okay, so we can keep going. Now, we're kind of one too high over there. Okay, so we finished with the sand. That took longer than I wanted it to. But that's the height that we're going to. Okay, right here. This is the height. And what we're doing is pulling the glass in sort of maybe 3 wide windows, or possibly 5, depending on how it looks. I don't know if it'll look better with more or fewer. All the way up. The ceiling level is right here. This is the ceiling level. So if we grab some white stained clay and we pull that across, just so that we have a good visualization of this. That is where the ceiling is going to be. Okay? So this is where our wall really sort of goes. So that's the height of it. Very, very tall. But I think it's going to look very nice once we get in what we're going to get in. So this is the middle. So we're working from the middle so we can keep things, we'll be able to keep things symmetrical. Now, I want to skip 2. I think 2 is what I want to skip for placing our gray stained clay pillars. And these need to be quite substantial, I think, in order for them to look good. So I don't think we're going to go just the one thickness. We are going to have these on the inside as well. They're going to come up, they're going to go up again, and they're going to wrap around the top. Okay? Just like that. Okay? So if this is the ceiling level, then we're going to replace these 2 blocks here with the quarried stone. Then that goes above that, and it wraps up like that. Now, I don't know if I want to go for this, or if I want to have some white in between the window or not. I don't really think I do. I think that I like just having the glass and then the pillar. Now, we're going to bring it in. It's going to end up being 3 blocks thick, and because I'm using full plate glass. 1, because I don't really trust glass panes with all these mobs, but 2, because this needs to be quite substantial. This is like plate glass. I mean, this is like heavy-duty glass, so we're going with full blocks. So these pillars will stick in on this side as well. They're very thick. Everything's very substantial. And that's how we have it. So, I mean, we can build this up. I got the builder's wand. The super... My phone's about to ring. The super builder's wand. We'll just build this up. Yeah, it's my uncle. I know it because I gave him that ring on the phone. Come on, somebody get it. Okay. Now, the question is if I'm liking it or not. If I'm liking the 3 wide windows, or if I think it'd be better if they were 5 wide. Let's build this pillar, and that should help us decide. Get that pillar built. Wrap it around the top. Oh. And for this ultra-modern style, wrapping things like this around the roof, around corners and edges, is really popular. It's really the thing to do. And I think I actually want to make this thicker, even, like that. I might not make it a full... No, that's too thick. But we may use slabs to make these different thicknesses, maybe a little bit thicker. Okay? So we end up with that. Now, at this rate, we're going to end up with... Let's see. Make sure it fits. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll have this here, which actually works out perfectly. Potentially. Because, as you can see, this here is where I want to put the wall, the inner wall, that'll cover up that outer wall. And it lines up, so I think that'll work. Now, if I made these 5, we would end up with that and that. And then we would have that. We'd have 1... oh, come on. Let's just use this. 1... oh, we can't do that either. Well, I guess we'll do it on the ground then. We'll break that off. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'd have 2. We'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2. And we wouldn't quite make it to the end. So, yeah, we're going to go with the 3. And this is like the process, you know, when you're designing things. I had this design in my head. I knew I wanted it like this. The actual specifics, like, you know, how wide to make these things, you sort of work through as you build it and what looks good with the area. So, because it fits a lot better, we're going with 3s. Oh yeah, I figured that was gonna... I should have known that was gonna happen. It might be a little tricky, actually, building this. I don't think it will. I don't think it'll be too annoying. Well, that was annoying. Considering, you know, how many blocks are around it, it really shouldn't have fallen. But that is the trick of building in this pack. I may end up making heavy use of carpenter's blocks because they seem to not fall as readily. It also does matter what order you place things. Yeah, these aren't working. Now, I think I said at the beginning of this video that this would be the last one before we start the series, but who knows. Actually, it completely depends on how much time I can find to work on this. Between now and next week. This weekend is a pretty big deal. This weekend is it's basically the biggest weekend for the area in which I live. It's a Coast Guard festival honoring the Coast Guard, United States Coast Guard. And it's a really big thing. It's really fun and everything. I've never missed a year. I'm worried that I might miss it this year because I'm not feeling well. I feel like I sound better today, and I do feel a little better. For those of you who saw the Immersive Engineering tutorial, I am feeling a bit better than I did then. But, you know, it's still not the best. Oh, well, that didn't work. I have to build up these sidewalls, really, before that'll work out. So let me know in the comments, really, at the end of this video, what do you think of this? I think it's going to look nice once it's all put together. Until then, it might be a little iffy, but I think it's going to look nice. I'm considering overhanging this like that. Okay, having that stick out. And the reason I'm thinking of doing that is because that would then allow me to place like a light up here, facing down. Maybe. It's all in a state of flux. I definitely think this has the look, so far, the sort of look of a modern sort of factory building, crossed with like a, you know, it's a house still. No matter, regardless of what it actually ends up looking like. And I don't want that. Like that, so we'll do that. There we go. So there we have that. Now we need to build this one more over. There's our timer going off, but we'll keep it going for a little bit longer, actually. So you can kind of see this coming together. So hopefully now... Ooh, don't do that. If I had right-clicked there, it would have been a disaster. Nope, I have to start from the edge. Work my way over. Of course, building this up will help. And I can use my builder's wand to bring that in one. Same here, I can use my builder's wand to bring that in twice, which is where it's going to end up being. And then fill that in. That goes like that. This fills in, if it'll let me place it. Before we go, let's just make sure that this will actually work. So, carpenter's blocks to the rescue, I think. Indeed. Do that, and then use the builder's wand. Being very careful where I click. Like that. So that's the idea. Obviously, we're not going to leave this as just a big white flat wall. I do have some ideas for how to dress it up. But that is the idea for the Immersive Engineering room. So it's going to be a very large room. Very, very tall ceiling. But we are going to have a gantry, sort of catwalk, upper walkway. We're going to be able to put a lot of stuff in here. And we're definitely going to put a lot of stuff in here. And I feel that once this room is complete, I can fill it with the Immersive Engineering stuff. And then we can, we'll have all those machines up and running. And then I can jump back into survival mode. And we can get the Let's Play going proper. Because then I'll have all my Immersive Engineering stuff. And then I'll give myself roughly as many resources as I had. We've already got plenty of food, courtesy of Shiva. And so then we should be good. So, let me know in the comments what you want to see. Whether you would like me to show the completion of this in an episode, or whether you'd like me to finish this and then just get on with the Let's Play. I know a lot of you have been commenting and you're eager for the Let's Play to begin, and so am I, to see how many times we die. So stay tuned for future episodes. I'm SentinalH, and I'm signing out.